On an ordinary afternoon, when the world seemed to hum along in its usual rhythm, the sun began its gradual descent, casting a warm, golden light over the lively streets of downtown Chicago. With a few hours to kill between meetings, I sought solace at Brewed Awakening, a familiar coffee shop I'd visited countless times. The comforting sound of the espresso machine's hiss, the soft buzz of conversations, and the faint melody of indie music created a calming atmosphere. Exhausted from the relentless demands of work, I longed for this moment of peace, hoping a latte would clear the haze in my mind. As I pushed open the door, the gentle tinkle of the bell above welcomed me. The cafe was bustling as it often was, but my favorite window seat appeared unoccupied. Glancing around to be sure, my eyes fell on her, Emily, my wife, sitting at a table by the glass. She looked radiant, her chestnut hair cascading over her shoulders, her green eyes sparkling in the sunlight. Her laughter, so free and joyful, tugged at my heart as it always had. It had been ages since I'd heard it so unguarded, and it brought a brief smile to my lips. Yet something felt wrong. A cold shiver ran through me as I stood frozen in the doorway. Across from Emily sat a man I didn't immediately place. He was tall, sharply dressed, with neatly trimmed hair and a clean-shaven face. His posture was relaxed, leaning slightly toward her as they chatted. Their conversation seemed casual, but the warmth in their shared glances, too intimate, too familiar, sent a jolt of unease through me. A heavy weight settled in my stomach, sharp and unfamiliar. Was I imagining things? Was my mind conjuring doubts? I took a hesitant step forward, my thoughts spinning, unable to look away. Part of me wanted to turn back, leave the cafe, and pretend I hadn't seen them. But a nagging instinct, whispering that something was profoundly amiss, kept me rooted. I navigated through the crowded cafe, keeping my distance, trying to steady my racing pulse. Emily hadn't spotted me yet. I lingered near the counter, torn between confronting her and slipping away unnoticed. Then, as if fate had other plans, her gaze lifted and locked with mine. For a fleeting moment, time seemed to pause. Her face fell, her smile faded, her eyes widened with a spark of panic. She quickly looked away, as if hoping I hadn't noticed her, but it was too late. The truth was sinking in, heavy and oppressive. My chest constricted, my heart pounded. Was this a misunderstanding? A mistake? I wanted to call out, to demand answers, but my voice was lost in the cafe's clamor. The man across from her turned, meeting my gaze. He flashed a brief, courteous smile and extended his hand. "Hey, I'm Mark, Emily's colleague," he said, his tone light, almost overly at ease. His smile didn't quite reach his eyes, and something about it felt empty. Mark. The name burned into my mind, a weight I knew would linger. I let out a shaky breath and shook his hand. "Ion," I said, my voice wavering, betraying the turmoil inside. My hands were clammy. "Nice to meet you." Emily's face had drained of color, guilt etched into her expression as she stood awkwardly. She opened her mouth, but no words came. The silence between us was deafening, louder than the cafe's chatter. At last she spoke, her voice unsteady. "Ion, I didn't know you'd be here," she said, her eyes darting nervously between me and Mark. Those words hit like a punch, cutting deeper than anything else. She didn't know I'd be here. The statement felt like an admission, raw and unfiltered. I struggled to keep my composure as questions flooded my mind. How long had this been going on? How many lies had she spun? The late nights, the vague stories about friends. How often had I been deceived? I glanced at Mark, then back at Emily. "Is this why you've been so distant?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. She looked away, unable to meet my eyes, her silence more telling than any words. Without another word, I turned and walked out of the cafe. The cold air bit at my face as I stepped outside, my breath shallow, as if the world had stolen it. The pain in my chest was unbearable, but I couldn't dwell on it. I needed to get away. My mind churned as I made my way to my car, replaying every detail. Why hadn't she been truthful? How could she let me believe our marriage was intact when it was falling apart? I slid into the driver's seat, slammed the door, and drove aimlessly, the city blurring by. Eventually, I found myself parked outside our apartment building, clutching the steering wheel in silence. Memories surged back, the subtle clues I'd ignored, The late hours, the strange explanations. I thought of Mark, of the ease in their glances, the effortless flow of their conversation. It made my stomach twist. I didn't want to confront her, didn't want to hear her justifications or apologies. I just wanted her to feel the depth of the pain she'd caused. I went inside. The apartment was unnaturally quiet, save for the faint hum of the refrigerator. In the kitchen, I grabbed a pen and paper and wrote without pausing, letting the words pour out. Stay away. I folded the note and slipped it under the door, its finality settling over me like a heavy mist. I sank onto the couch, waiting for her to come home, to see the note, to realize the fracture in our world. But she didn't return, not that night, nor the next day. The silence grew louder, a void filled with tangled emotions, anger, sorrow, betrayal. Then a quiet clarity emerged. This wasn't just about her or the affair. It was about me, about the person I'd been, holding on to a version of her that no longer existed, a version of myself that no longer fit. In that moment, one truth became clear. I was done being the fool.